Hello, welcome back. This is Kenshin1913, and we are Let's Playing Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Father, 20th anniversary. In the last episode, we were talking with Madame Kazakno about...
Do you mind if I ask you a few more questions,
We were talking about
if you
stuff.
Wish, Father.
Now we're going to keep talking about St.
What
John's
else can you
Eve.
tell me about St. John's Eve?
I don't think I should say any more about that.
We're talking to some crazy old broad.
Do you have any idea what Caprice Sankar means?
Maybe. I know. I bet you do not know, Father, n'est pas?
It means goat without horns.
It means goat without horns.
Father, you surprised me. You do know what it means. You know what they mean by goat without horns, don't you? A human being. That's right. Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil murder.
Very, very interesting.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
Oh, her. I could tell you about her. Voodoo Queen? Ah, my great-grandmother was an acolyte of Marie Laveau. She knows the truth about her.
What is the truth about her?
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
No, I won't say anything more. Not to you, Father. I'm sure you mean well, but you are an outsider.
What about...
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, Father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
What about animal masks?
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
What about Veves?
Do you know anything about Veves?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
What about black voodoo?
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Oh, yes, Father. It is the wickedest kind. The kind they practice here in New Orleans.
What about
Have you ever
Damballa?
heard of Damballa?
No, Father. I don't know anything about that.
What about Udon
Does the
Badagri?
name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
No, Father. I don't know anything
You don't know
about that.
shit, do you?
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans, but the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
What do you mean about the real voodoo queens?
Tell me about yourself.
Me? I am Creole. My family has been in New Orleans for over 200 years. Real New Orleanians are French, you see. These days, the city is overrun with people with no heritage at all. No offense, Father, but it's true. But the French, naturellement, will always be the true blood of New Orleans.
I guess. I mean, the whole, French purchase and everything.
Tell me
Louisiana
about
purchase.
yourself.
Well, Father, I don't know what else to say.
Alright, so let's...
It's so nice of you to invite me in.
But no, mon père. I am always happy to see one of the good fathers.
Alright, let's ask about voodoo
Who are the
queens.
real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Laveau was just a front, a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans. It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo enfant. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Laveau, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Really?
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound for.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you bade me. But it's here in New Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear their drums at night, oh yes. That's why I'm so ill, I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there, I can tell you. I'll show you something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if ever there was one.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I've always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Yeah, and luckily we have the clay here.
Bless this bracelet of a snake. Even though its vibes aren't great, let it do nobody harm when they wear it on their arm. Voodoo spirits, go away. Don't come back another day. And now let us pray.
Alright, so now at this point, you should have some clay. And, yeah, we'll use the clay on the snake bracelet.
Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Luckily, we have it this time.
Oh, bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse. Oh, take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
I feel so much better now.
Alright, what else
Do
you
you
gotta
find
say?
the weather to your liking?
It's terribly humid. I only go out in the morning and the evening.
Alright, I'm done talking to you. I'm
Good
out.
day, Madame Casanova.
Goodbye, Father.
I'm outie.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this.
Alright, so now at this point, let's go back to the Dixieland drugstore.
Hi. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want. I answer what I want.
Alright, so here we gotta talk about St. John's Eve.
I found out what Cabri Sankal means. How did you know about human sacrifice?
I never said them words, monsieur. You must have heard them from someone else.
You're a liar.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo houndfall?
There's no such thing. Not around here.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo. No such thing. I tell you for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
Don't talk like that around here, man.
Oh, he knows what that is.
Do you know anything about veves?
Like the ones in the voodoo rituals they do for the tourists.
Right.
They curiosities, no? This a curio shop.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, what about Damballa?
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
Damballa is an African legend about a great serpent. Folklore, that's all.
Sure.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $120.
What? You said you'd sell it for 100 before.
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always 120.
Sure it was. You're a jerk. Alright, now we gotta leave. And now we gotta head to St. Louis Cemetery number 1. And we're gonna head over to the Getty Tomb. And here there's Malia.
Malia?
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
Unnoticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else,
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
whatever for?
I can't stop thinking about you.
Oh,
I've been in
boy.
your thoughts too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I've got a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
See, I knew it. You're crazy about me, too. Come by tonight. please. My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Jeez. Talk about...
Damn it.
Talk about a cold shoulder. So let's leave now.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
So Gabe is leaving. Oh, look, Amalia. She's here.
Excuse me. I'm going inside.
Oh, I'm afraid St. George's is closed for the day.
I'm not a customer. I'm here to see the owner.
Why don't you just leave your name and number with me, and I'll tell him you stopped by.
Listen, if Gabriel is here, he'll want to see me. Is he? Here?
I really couldn't say for certain, but in the morning...
Gracie, say goodnight.
Ooh. Booty call. Gracie's getting C-blocked or something, I don't know. She's trying to cock-block Gabriel.
You came. I didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would either.
Your eyes. I could show you around a little. It's not much, but...
Please don't. I couldn't focus on much of anything right now.
Yeah, I know. God, what is it about you?
Just shut up and kiss me.
Ooh. So there you go. We start day 4. No nightmare, you notice that? No nightmare. I spoke to one who smelled of death. He gave to me his ears, and across that were marked were made the veil of tears. Yeah, sometimes I can't read, you know that. Yeah, now you got a creepy guy looking at us at the window. Grace is not talking to him.
You're not speaking to me this morning?
Don't be silly. I just have nothing to say.
Have it your way.
Alright, so now it's time to
Have
continue.
you noticed this guy outside the shop?
Yeah, he gives me the creeps. I wish he'd go away.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't tell him to just get lost. So let's look at the newspaper.
Times dated June 21st, 1993. Gabriel's eye is immediately drawn to an article about the voodoo murder.
Why is
He
Mosley the
scans
head
it
of this
quickly.
thing?
I don't believe this. They've closed the case.
What case?
The voodoo murders case. The paper says that the police have learned that the murders were a result of an underworld cartel war, and that the war is over.
That's not good?
It's ridiculous. And what about the killers? And the voodoo angle, they never got anything on that.
I know you were into it, Gabriel, but if it's over, that's hardly a negative. Anyway, if you're that upset, why don't you talk it over with your pal Mosley?
You don't get it, Grace. Just forget it, okay?
Gabriel decides to check his horoscope, despite his disgust. Death walks close to you today. Resist temptation lest his eye fall on you, too.
Interesting, interesting.
Peachy.
Gabriel also spots an ad for Sam Springleton, a jeweler. Sam hangs out at the Napoleon House.
Yeah, now see, the Napoleon House is a place that apparently Gabriel frequented a lot, and they're making it only accessible to this in this day.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure outside does not respond.
Alright, let's talk to Gracie.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Messages? You got any messages for me?
Do you have messages for me?
Your grandmother called. She said to remind you to stop by and go through your father's things.
Okay.
Yeah, go get your goddamn
Do you
thing.
have messages for me?
That man from Germany called again. Wolfgang Ritter. Now he's claiming to be a relative of yours.
Interesting.
Let's get his number.
Can I get that phone number for Wolfgang Ritter?
Sure, I'll give it to you when we're done talking.
And then finally, can you do
Could
some
you do
research?
some research for me?
Sure, what?
Research this
I
pattern.
have a pattern I need you to research.
How interesting. What is it?
It's a reconstruction of the tracings they found around the murder victims. The ones done in flour and blood.
Yuck. You shouldn't carry this kind of thing around. Who knows what these symbols mean?
Well, wear your evil banishing gloves if you want, but check it out for me, would you?
I'll see what I can find out.
Alright, so that's pretty much it that we want.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it for Gracie.
I can't think of anything.
At the moment.
Here's that phone number.
Thanks.
So we could go back there and call Wolfgang, but let's head out. So now we're finally gonna go visit Gran. After a long, long time.
I'm going out.
Don't hurry back on my account.
Lock the door. Especially with that creep hanging out in the front. Yeah, so this is the first time that we can access Gabriel's grandmother's house. Usually in the first episode, or in the original, you can access her place right away. And as you can see, she doesn't look...
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
She doesn't look as crazy. And yeah, I think this picture over
sorry,
here...
it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all.
Is Jane Jensen.
Give me a kiss.
You see the picture on the left right here
Now
of this
come on,
lady?
sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
That might be Jane Jensen. Yeah. And this is someone...
On the wall are portraits of Gran and Granddad when they were young.
Oh,
Gabriel's inherited some good-looking genes.
Alright, so let's talk to her.
How have you been, Gran?
Just fine, dear. I'm sorry I bothered you at work, but, I was hoping you'd get a chance to go through your father's things in the attic.
Don't be silly. You can call me anytime.
So let's talk about all kinds of stuff now.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel.
Yeah, and they
Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and Granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear so much about it these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
Yeah, I think they made Gabriel's grandmother a little less southern looking.
What can you tell me about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing.
Southern Belle.
And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
Alright, what about New Orleans?
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is very southern, of course, though not as much as it used to be when I was a girl. It's gotten much more influenced by the East Coast and that California stuff. Still, it hasn't changed as much as other places, I reckon. We've always been happy here.
That's
what can
pretty
you
cool.
tell me about New Orleans?
My goodness, boy, you lived here all your life, just like me. I can't tell you much that you don't already know.
Well, what about stuff that I didn't know about?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? I remember when I was a girl, we always had a St. John's Eve Mass. The Mass was said at midnight, and we held candles. One time, on the way home, we were waylaid by a large group of drunken revelers. They didn't hurt us, but oh, I was frightened. My father was furious. We never went to St. John's Eve Mass after that.
Good for you. Anything else?
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I haven't celebrated it in years, Gabriel. I'm sure there's still Mass in the more traditional churches, but I don't go.
Have you ever heard of Marie Laveau?
Marie Laveau? Oh, of course. She was that voodoo woman, wasn't she? She preyed on people's fears and superstitions, is what I think. There are always those willing to take other people's money for nothing. You stay away from people like that, Gabriel.
Yes, Gran.
What about
Do you know
snakes?
anything about snakes?
Snakes? What kind of snakes, dear?
I don't know, local kinds.
Well, we used to get cottonmouths in the park when I was a girl, but I haven't heard of one being sighted for years. Milk snakes and garter snakes are also around these parts, but they can't hurt you.
Thanks, Gran.
Oh, well, that's good.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Why, no, dear. Do you mean Mardi Gras masks?
Never mind, Gran. Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound fall?
She don't know
Gabriel,
shit.
my goodness. What are you up to these days?
She had no
nothing,
idea.
Gran, really.
You'd better not be. You know you're the only family I have left.
Well, you
I
never
know,
know.
Gran. It's okay.
Could die at
Do
any
you know
moment.
anything about black voodoo?
I don't know much about any kind of voodoo, Gabriel.
Alright, we're getting to the good shit.
Does the
here.
phrase Cabri Sanko mean anything to you?
Something without something, I think. Oh, my French is so rusty, I swear my mind is going.
No, it's okay. Thanks. Does the name Ogun Badagri mean anything to you?
What, dear?
Never mind.
Yeah, see, he's like,
Have you ever heard of Damballa?
What, dear?
yeah, she's
Never
like,
mind.
she's like, I don't understand
Tell me
anything.
about yourself.
Me? Surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
No, come on, Gran.
Oh, all right, dear. What do you want to hear?
Let's hear about what you do all day.
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden. I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Yeah,
Well,
what was he like?
You know, I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas and corn and cotton, all kinds of things.
Nice.
It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
So how'd you meet
Tell me how
Granddad?
you met Granddaddy.
Oh, I met Harrison at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, "Come to me to find your way." Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend, Alma. And at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fine brimstone annex. And a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for men, went flying off. I swear, Harrison and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. Oh, it was then I knew that he was from me.
Ooh, we both laughed at this something funny, and that's it.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
That's good.
Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Good for him.
Just tell me anything at all.
I hate to admit it, but I was a jealous little thing when your granddaddy and I were younger. I loved him so ferociously, and he did attract the eyes of the ladies whether he wanted to or not.
So he was a ladies'
Just
man
tell me
too.
anything at all.
I get lonely sometimes, but I have lots of girlfriends in the neighborhood. I call one of them if I'm feeling blue.
Oh, good for you.
Just tell me anything at all.
I wish you'd settle down and give me a great-grandchild.
Oh, Gran.
Not happening anytime soon.
Just tell me anything at all.
I never loved any man but your grandfather. And I never will.
Good for you.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right, dear.
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Yeah,
Have
see?
you baked any of your incredible molasses pies lately?
No, dear. But you let me know when you want some, and I'll whip up a half a dozen.
Yeah, so you can compliment her all day just like you can insult Mosley. Let's ask her about
Tell
the
me
night
about
gown.
our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Let's hear about Granddad.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. Oh, I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. Oh, the nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he lost another. And I'd tell him it didn't matter to me, but he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Yeah, well,
Tell me something
I
about
guess that'd be...
Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district.
Damn.
It took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
Oh, I know you are, dear.
That sucks.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was. He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift, but he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Well, what the hell's the point of living?
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him.
Yeah, let's hear more about him.
Tell me about my father.
Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. Oh, they were two peas in a pod.
Well, Gabriel suffers from terrible nightmares.
Tell me about
too.
my father.
When Philip met your mother, oh, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then, and he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Jeez.
Tell me about my father.
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wildcat.
Really?
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school, but Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Well, Philip was only 8 when his granddad died.
Tell me about my father.
How would he
He
push him?
always hated that it was Margaret's money that supported the 3 of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or two, but he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Really?
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked to find her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be such a sweet gesture.
It's just past the Ross tomb, right? Oh, maybe I will.
Alright, let's hear more about Mama.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my mother.
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. Oh, they never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
And that's about it.
What's new, Gran?
I've been working on baby sweaters for the church bazaar. Keeps me busy.
Alright, well, I guess that's it.
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
All right, dear.
Let's head up into the attic.
I'm gonna go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
Alright, so here we are in the attic. Let's look at the hat.
It's a lady's hat from the 1920s.
And from Gran's Virginia Woolf period.
Yeah, there's no lederhosen now.
It looks pretty heavy. There's a lot of Granddad's old stuff in here. Might be something interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Oh, look at that, there's a key.
What's this? It's some sort of key.
Alright, we needed to get that. He's got a picture of a dog and a beer stein. And a hat.
A bundle of letters. Love letters between Harrison and Rebecca.
Oh, how lovely. Alright, I'm just gonna get this clock thing working and then we'll be done. Alright, so if you remember correctly, we need to get the dragon over at the 3. If I correctly. Alright, remember the poetry about 3 dragons? Turn the symbols to have the dragon on top. And turn the minute hand until it shows 3 o'clock. Use the key here.
The key winds the clock's mechanism.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
Yeah, so we needed the 3 at the dragon needed to be 3, and there you go. So let's take the photo and the letter.
The back of the photo has the following written on it. Schloss Ritter, 1925.
Yeah, so who are these 3 men? Alright, let's exit here. And the clock letter.
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersburg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only other thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of a quill tip, bold strokes, and underlining.
Alright, so there you go. We learned some information about Grandpa.
The old photograph shows Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men that Gabriel has not identified.
Alright, so there we go. So yeah, in the next episode, we'll talk to Gran about this. And yeah, we will figure out what the hell is going on with Gran and Gabriel's family and all that. So I've been Kenshin1913. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.